So if you haven't seen any of my other videos, this truck here has a transmission leak, and today we're going to try and fix it. But because it has a transmission leak, there isn't any transmission fluid in it, so we're going to try and pull it and or push it into the garage. So we just used the Honda Civic to pull it. Worked very nice. Surprised me, but it worked. So, whenever I was adding transmission fluid, I only added 2 quarts, and I was checking it, but somehow I managed to get a little bit too much in there, and so I'm going to have to go ahead and siphon some out. I found some old airline tubing from a fish tank, and I connected the pieces together and connected them to this nozzle that I got off of a cleaning bottle. And I'm just going to siphon it right back into this bottle here. So the line, whenever it's running, is right about where my thumb is. So it's quite a bit over the hot line. So the main reason I'm doing this is because it's not good to have too much transmission fluid. If you have too much fluid, it can cause it to foam in there, and obviously foam doesn't lubricate as good as smooth liquid, so you want to make sure you have the perfect amount in there to avoid any damage to your transmission. So I took roughly half a quart out, and I'm gonna start the truck. First I need to connect the battery. And I'm gonna start it and let it get up to operating temperature and see what it looks like. I just realized I wasn't even recording. No, that kind of sucks. Anyway, so what I was saying was the fluid still looks a little bit low. I don't know if I was even recording whenever I recorded that, but transmission fluid looks, or not low, it looks high. It looks like there's still a bit too much. Because I looked at it whenever the engine was still kind of cool, and it was about in the middle of the cold and hot areas. Yeah, after that I'm going to need to change the oil because I don't know when the last oil change was. I haven't changed it since I owned it. I haven't owned it that long, like I haven't put that many miles on it, so I haven't changed it yet. But it's looking pretty bad. I need to change it, and there's some small oil leaks, I think. Oh, the heat's on, that's why it's so hot in here. Let's go ahead and turn that off. There we go. Maybe that's my problem. Where was I? The oil. Yeah, I'm gonna have to change the oil. It looks kind of bad. And also, about a year ago, whenever I first parked this, before I parked it, I flushed the coolant and I refilled it. And it's looking a little low right now. I don't know if I've got a small coolant leak. I don't think so, because I feel like it would be like gone if it was sitting for that long. So I don't think I have a coolant leak, but yeah, whenever I changed it, I didn't realize that you were supposed to bleed the coolant, so I definitely need to problems because of air bubbles. Something as simple as that should be taken care of. And then, yeah, as for the transmission, like, I refilled it, I put some dye in the transmission fluid, and I haven't seen any leaks at all. I haven't physically seen any leaks. I haven't seen any leaks with the UV light. So maybe just because it was sitting for a while, maybe one of the seals or gaskets, O-ring, something, maybe something like shrunk or something like that. With the temperature change, maybe something got a small crack in it, or maybe something just got a little dry, and whenever I started it up and drove it a little bit, maybe that lubed it up and fixed the problem. I'm not a transmission guy. I've never worked with transmissions before. I don't know a whole lot about them, so I'm not too sure, but all I know is that it's not leaking currently. Whenever I get this roadworthy and start driving it around, if I notice a leak, I mean, I'm going to check quite often because of this problem. But if I notice a leak, then I'm definitely going to take it to a shop to see if I can get it fixed, because I don't think I'm going to be able to do it myself. As I said, I've never worked with transmissions. I have no idea what I'm doing. And, yeah, so those are some things to come for this truck before I start driving it around. Looks like it's about at operating temperature, so I'm going to go check that again, see where it's at. But it is a little bit high, so I'm going to go ahead and siphon a little bit more out, and then I think it should be good. just filmed a whole bunch. Once again, don't think I got any of it. Anyway, I just took this for a drive. I thought I was smelling something whenever we were driving, and I noticed the brakes felt really squishy. So I pulled it back up on the cement here, and I looked down here, and I saw a couple puddles. So yep, I followed it back up here, and there's a brake line up there. I know it's a brake line because I had somebody else push on the brakes, and yep, it squirted right in my face. I've got a brake line to change now. Seems like it's just one thing after another, but I mean, I guess that's what I get for letting it sit for a year or two. On the plus side, though, the transmission fluid looks good. It doesn't seem to be leaking at all. And yeah, so mechanically, it seems to be working and running fine. It's just the brakes and that brake line. So it's another thing I'm going to have to do before I can get this thing on the road and driving legally. I love how I just washed and waxed this, and now there's all this pollen, I guess. All over it, coating the whole thing. Alright, so it runs, it drives, got the transmission figured out. At least it seems to be figured out, and nothing's leaking anymore. And I guess the brakes are for another video.